brick and mortar home shopping network in beautiful downtown Lawrence, Kansas. Hi, Paul.
Another day, another afternoon spent showing the folks at home what we've got to offer here at Wonder Fair. So welcome folks. Welcome folks on Instagram. Welcome folks on YouTube.
Yeah.
Double check our sound. Okay, tech update. We're good.
Tech update. The sound is fine. Life update. Today feels like a lot. It was very rainy. Our roof's kind of leaky.
Oh, got a leak. That's their tech update for today.
Leak.
Oh, and I'm looking at new phones.
We're gonna need a new phone. We're on the phone a lot more now, and we have to think about. Here's the weird thing about running a business right now, folks, amongst 1 million others. Should we spend money in a difficult time for us to buy a new phone this week when maybe next week phones aren't going to be the thing anymore? Who knows?
Phone's still pretty busy, and I think it's going to continue to be busy. So, $100, $200 on a new phone, we'll figure it out.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll figure out something to do with the whole extra phone line.
Yeah, we will. We'll find some way to make that fun. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. It's Notebooks Part 4. We got more notebooks to show you. Yesterday on the show, we did Part 3, looked at a few brands, but today we'll be digging a little deeper. And you think this is the last notebook episode for a while? What do you think, Meredith?
I have a lot of things I can say about notebooks, is what I've learned about myself, and also already knew it. So, to thine own self be true. So I could probably finish notebooks today.
Okay. Not a promise, but a possibility.
There's so many great brands of notebooks. And, once you open one and look inside, you will see how different each one is and the unique stuff they bring to the table. Specifically, this table. By the way, I'm showing maybe like 70% of the notebook brands we carry, but there's actually more that I just won't show because they do have some more overlap. Mm-hmm. But if anyone's favorite notebook brand didn't get shown, I want you to know it's not because I don't love it. It's just because I was trying to be expedient.
Okay. Well, there you have it. We still have your favorite.
Are you even going to do a local announcement today? Or are we just...
Local announcements. Let's see. What did we get up to yesterday? We ordered some Zen Zero for lunch at 4:00 because that's the point at which we decided we needed to eat lunch. Partially because we had Lewis from Cellar Door Cafe on the show, and he plied us with cookies and English muffins during our lunch hour broadcast. So we were good for a little bit. So today it's another Tubular Tuesday. So Tuesdays usually are Tube Meat Tuesday, where we head to Leeway Frank's for lunch. So shout out to Leeway, big fan of the show.
Yeah. I'm still involved. My local news is that I'm still involved in. I'm taking a real backseat because with the situation of keeping Wonder Fair afloat, pretty busiest I've ever been. But what I'm gleaning is plans to reopen downtown in the safest way possible and moving forward with a lot of collective energy. And hopefully by next week or the week after, pretty big infrastructure changes are being made to help people navigate downtown safely. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a lot for people, but I hope it's a lot of good and not a lot of stress.
Yeah, great.
That's my downtown update. Keep your eye out for downtown to do a new thing. Mm-hmm. Drop a plant in the seeds.
I had to go to Love Garden yesterday to weigh a package and got some records. So Love Garden open by appointment. Mm-hmm. And we really need to get Kelly on the show. I want to see what he found in their basement. They also cleaned their little loft area. I wonder what he discovered up there. There you go.
Well,
shall we?
I think we shall. Apologies in advance because of so much stuff happening so quick. I feel like I'm not on my verbiage A game today, so help me out when I describe something real weird.
Okay.
We've talked about notebooks in so many ways because Wonder Fair sells so many. We talked about the paper and the sizes, the different kinds of guts, and now today and yesterday we've been talking about brands and what they bring specifically to the world of notebooks that's unique to that brand. So without further ado, because we've already covered MD Notebooks and Baron Figs and Bindawork and Mossery, And I think that's it. So a notebook brand that I feel is pretty well known that we didn't get to yesterday is Leuchtturm or Leuchtturm, which I can't pronounce very well either, much like Bindewerk. So I apologize to all the German-speaking people about my very poor pronunciation. But Leuchtturm are a very beloved notebook. Leuchtturm 1917 is the full name of the brand. Leuchtturm means lighthouse in German.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. So these notebooks are fountain pen friendly paper. They've got a lot of other similar properties to moleskins and rhodias, as we talked about before, like straps and pockets. But one feature of a Leuchtturm, which appeals to a lot of people, is that in almost every standard Leuchtturm, every page is numbered. And that's something a lot of folks appreciate if they're journaling or doing any kind of rigorous note-taking where you need to reference things back. Having an already numbered page means it's going to be really easy for you to skip ahead a few pages and start a new subject and reference it back in the always included table of contents page at the top of every Leuchtturm notebook. Makes it a great diary. Another fun feature of some more specialty Leuchtturms that we didn't talk about are Leuchtturm, like Baron Fig, makes a lot of specialized notebooks, and I'm going to show you just a couple that are very unique. First up, when bullet journaling became super hot, do you remember that?
It was transformative.
Just like 2 years ago, so It was easy. But bullet journaling, a system devised by Ryder Carroll, but used by many organizers, is simply a way to combine sort of like your planner and your to-do lists and your goal setting into one book in a way that's simple and efficient and helps you track and attain goals. So a lot of other brands made similar styled projects working together with different philosophers actually often create notebook systems, and people who are just like in business and needed to do it for themselves, and then they shared their ideas. Leuchtturm did an interesting thing during that craze phase where they created this change journal. And what I like about it is instead of one system that you might end up not liking throughout the whole notebook, it's actually a notebook full of, I think, 10 or 12 different systems for organizing thought and tracking habits and change and maybe like just generally journaling better. So the idea is instead of working from beginning to end, you can kind of jump around through different parts and try those journaling systems. And if you end up liking it, great. Keep doing it in a blank journal later. If you don't like it, stop using it. You still got like 10 more types of journaling to try.
I'm looking right now. It says 24 different methods.
That's frankly too many.
It might be too many. That's why this one comes in at a hefty price tag. What was this? 35?
It's
something
money.
Like that. It's some money.
But I do feel like a lot of people, when they love journaling and they're trying to find their perfect system, it can be costly to buy and abandon a system. Plus, a lot of people then just feel very guilty about it. So if you haven't yet found your perfect one, I think the Change Journal is a good way to start. Once you find your perfect system, maybe you pass it off to a friend and then they can use the journal to learn their own preferred system. So way to go on this notebook product, Leuchtturm. I think it's really smart and reduces a lot of the stress of going all in on one system from the top. Next up, Leuchtturm also makes one of their most popular journals they've been making for many years is along the lines of a 5-year diary. 5-year diaries specifically are notebooks designed where each page has 5 sort of rows, and they're dated with the beginning of the year. But the idea is in 2020, in the first chunk, for example, you would write a memory from each page is dated with the day of the year. So
day, not the year.
Right. It just has the day. Like today is somebody
January 1st.
It's not January 1st. I'm sure about that.
Well, that's probably where the book starts, though.
It's May, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It's May and it's a Wednesday, and that's all we need to know anymore. So it's a Wednesday in May.
It's a Tuesday, actually.
Shoot. Y'all, we're having a season. It's a day. The day's going to be at the top of the page. Then there's 5 rows with little blocks for text. So this day of 2020, I would write down, couldn't remember it was a Tuesday and not a Wednesday. The roof leaked. Dave seems to be getting better, and I'm just very stressed out. And then next year, on the same page, when it's this day, whatever it is, I will write, gosh, 2020 was much worse than this, and I'm having a great time. Just loving the new president. And things are looking up. And then the next year, and then the next year, and the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that when you look through the journal, it shows you rapid change in a way that's different, and it helps you reflect every day on where you were a year ago.
It's a great time to start one of these five-year journals, because how could the next 4 years be any worse? You can always look back to year one.
Don't ask it.
Okay. I mean,
You've cursed us again.
I hope not. Just like, let's be optimistic about it, right?
I want to say that, but you know what? In 2021, when we're looking back on this year, you know what year it would have been 5 years ago? 2016, right?
Yeah.
That's math. Is that right? Is that the math?
Yeah.
Math. That's
I
it.
think it was 2015, 5 years ago.
Well,
It's
is this year.
2020
I'm saying
right?
next
Okay,
year
yeah.
when we're looking. Anyway.
Okay.
5-year diaries are very cool. We have them by Loic term. Very soon, if shipping ever restarts, we're going to have a restock on our Midori 5-year diary, which is lovely. And we do have a similar product, very affordable, $16.95. It's actually produced by Chronicle, who are a basic book publisher, and in a very basic way, when there's something kind of trendy, they'll often produce a short run for a couple of years of things like journals that tap into that zeitgeist. So 5-year diaries were having a bit of a moment a few years ago, and they made this very lovely and very small 1-line-a-day book, which in a similar vein has all the years and the date at the top. This is a good way to show it. And it's a more compact way to do that passage of time accounting. Those are 5-year diaries, folks. That's a cool kind of guts that a few brands make. I have seamlessly prepared myself. No, I didn't. There are so many scenes. Well, let's talk about a next notebook system that has a lot of special features. You know what's missing from my notebooks journey?
What?
You used to get to talk about more stuff, but since it's notebooks and it's all me, I feel.
Oh yeah, let me take the reins.
I'm gonna let you
I
take
will
the
say
reins
that
on
all
this.
3 of these products that Meredith showed in an unusual move are available on our website,
No way.
wonderfulhomeshopping.com. All 3 of them, the Change Journal, the Loic term, Some Lines a Day, and the Chronicle. The major difference here being with these 2, they're both 5-year. This one's smaller and probably has much less nice paper inside. So if you're writing with a fountain pen or just really like to write on slightly nicer paper, maybe spring for the Loic term.
You'll have more space as well.
A little bit more space, although you don't want to get too overwhelmed. Just get that line down, right?
It's about refining your day down to just the subtle or important things you want to remember. Or you want someone else to remember, like children, family, all that good stuff.
Yes, let folks really pry into what your life was like some years down the road.
Building a case against a bad employer, start a 5-year diary. You know what I'm saying? That took it to a negative place. I just
really brutal.
It's honestly good advice, but also mostly the 5-year diaries for your
just
nice
get a
thoughts.
different job.
We're not.
If you're going to commit to journaling about it, it's time for a change.
Clearly, we're not here to give you business advice because we run a home shopping network where 80% of what we show you is not available to purchase online.
Yep.
Even though we run
except
a very
100% so
large
far. 100% of each product we've shown today available to purchase online.
Well, I'm not completely ruining our trend by showing the Midori Traveler's Notebook again. So much is unique about this product, it's hard to even know where to begin. So I won't. I will ask Paul to do it.
Well, you're looking at the Midori Traveler's Notebook, and the Traveler system is essentially a way for you to customize and build your own ideal notebook. So if you want to mix it up and get some graph paper and some lined paper and some blank paper in the notebook, you can make that happen because all the inserts come separate. You get one blank insert when you buy the leather cover, but then you can slide your notebooks in and out with ease, like that's coming right out. I'm not going to pull it all the way out. And pack it up. And there's all sorts of like fun little accessories that you can add in as well. I know I've covered this before, but this is what I use for my Dungeons and Dragons notes. And so I've got the graph paper in there in case I ever need to diagram out like an encounter. But I also have one of the inserts that allows you to put, is it called a credit card insert or something?
It's called a business card.
Business card insert.
Card file?
there's a card file insert, and so RDM is giving us magic item cards that are great. So I can remember, oh, I have that magic item, and I can just flip to that card file and then pull up the item stats. Great.
Yep.
You can also use it for business cards too, if you're not existing entirely in the fantasy realm with your note taking. If you're doing meetings, whatever, you can. It's a fun little, and it comes in 2 sizes. This is the larger size. The smaller one's like a passport size, so you can really just even throw that in your back pocket if you're not bulking it up too much. We have seen customers who come in with like one of these that's like a big, huge sandwich of notebooks.
People sell aftermarket brands. Oh boy. I'm going to just stop that beep beep. I don't know who it is. Ignoring it. Aftermarket brands actually sell the leather covers that you could buy separately. Midori prefers you buy their actual brand. And in fact, in order to sell their products, we have to promise not to sell the imitators' products. So we exclusively sell the official Midori Traveler's Notebooks because I am extremely lawful good. But you can look around on Etsy and see what else is out there too.
But we're selling them we're giving you a good deal.
Yeah.
This is a loss leader for us. We're selling it below the retail price. Get you hooked on the inserts. That's how we're doing it.
Because
is that revealing too much?
I don't. We told you about the leak.
Is this online?
We're an open notebook. I have a couple of the
How do
colors
people
online.
buy this?
I think I have the blue and the camel color online, which this is camel. But in traditional home shopping parlance, it comes in 4 colorways. You've got the black, your classy city vibe. You've got the camel, which is just go anywhere, dress it up or down. You've got the blue, a newer color, which I think is soft and subtle and romantic, if that's your vibe. And then, of course, you've got your rugged brown leather, very traditional, very old world library.
That's what my D&D notebook is.
It is. I love all the color options. They will occasionally make a special edition color, like they made olive a few years ago. So if none of the colors really get you excited right now, you could start the system and then sell.
Just wait 3 or 4 years for another special edition.
I was going to suggest buy a color that you just can get by with because it's very easy to upgrade the cover. You can be using the system and change your covers out throughout the course of years, and then just pass down your old cover to someone who might be interested in the system. The notebook refills are cheap, so once you've invested in the cover, it's a pretty great system. This is, since I've been describing what each speciality might fit, whose lifestyle it might fit. I think if you've struggled to find a notebook you truly love and you want to be changing all the time, a Midori's nice because you're going to have lots of different kind of notebook guts options. And if your needs for notebooks change frequently and it's not your everyday diary, that could be helpful. Or if it is your everyday diary and you want to reliably have the exact same refill all the time, but it's lightweight to carry around with you, this is a great choice.
I didn't mention it, but there's so many different refills you can add in, not just when it comes to those bonuses like the card files, but Meredith has some of them pulled aside here. We got watercolor paper, boom. We've got sketch paper. Wild. So there's so many different papers.
They've got it all. The craft paper is particularly fun. It's slightly toned like craft brown. So if you use colored pencils in your notebooks, it looks really beautiful. And I also like it for people who press flowers into their notebooks and things. It's a little more restful on your eyes. If you have eye strain, writing on brown paper can actually reduce your eye strain. And if you're staring at your phone all day, like all of us, you do have eye strain. My eyes are the most strained they've ever been because I'm always just looking at bad news on the internet.
This is a little indicative of what we talked about a couple days ago with guts. So numbers 1, 2, and 3, we're looking at lined, grid, and blank. And then a big sensation just a couple years ago coming in at number 14.
Wish I had a party popper.
Dot grid. Pop.
Pop,
Wow.
pop, dot grid. Dot, 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 dot. Yep, number 14. So you know that there's a bunch of numbers with math between 4 and 14 that are just other kinds of exciting guts. Plus, I think they're up to 23 now on the passport guts. There are 26 in the regular size. It's wild.
Really? So we're not carrying all them?
We do carry them all. They're somewhere.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. They also make a great little planner insert, which I want to shout out. There's a free, this is the free diary. where you can write in your dates, but they do an annual dated one that comes thoughtfully in 2 volumes, so 6 months at a time, so you're not really bulking out your notebook too
Or
bad.
if you're just skipping 6 months, like
yeah.
now.
Yeah, I just sold one recently to somebody who was looking at the free diary, and I was like, well, for the same price, you can get the dated stuff and just throw out the first one because it's
Nothing's
all
happening
it's
till
all
July.
a mess. Yeah.
Okay. That's funny. That actually, do we have any left of those?
There's a couple left.
Cool. Y'all should get on that. 'Cause
Half off, $10 for the dated.
The July through December 2020
Still
planner
good.
might be useful. Cool. Onward, friends. We
love
love the
it.
Travelers. We love it.
We love it.
We would love
Just
to,
like
we would
Randy
love to
Newman in
sell them to
LA.
you.
We love it.
We love it. Do you want a different color? Call us on the telephone.
Yeah.
We got them.
We got any of that olive left?
No, bro.
Long gone.
No way.
Okay.
I wish. Those were
It was nice.
Those are nice. I'm sure I think they're going to do like a yellow ochre color now. Why do I think that?
Yeah.
No evidence. It's just a feeling in my heart. Yellow ochre is getting pretty popular. It looks great. It feels great. Let's do it.
We'll see where they go.
Okay.
We'll update you when that happens.
That'll be if I get it right. Do you think they'll send me a free one?
Yes,
I don't need a free one.
I think they will.
I already have a wholesale account. Anyway, sorry, I digress. When we get talking about Midori, it's a real problem.
MD.
People will think we're on the dole from them, but that's not the case. Okay, onward. Paul's even shaking his knee at me. So next up, let's move away from Japan for a moment to one of our newer notebook brands we carry, not newer in the world, but more rarely seen in the United States, are Nuna notebooks.
These are wild.
They're wild. First of all, I'm saying it. Best smelling notebook.
Best smelling notebook at Wonder Fair.
That is because they are screen printed covers,
What?
often screen printed, which gives them a huge depth of tone that you don't find in digitally printed notebooks, or, these are natural materials, so that's its own separate thing. But give the folks a look at this.
Yeah, I gotta
particular-
get a look at this.
Nuna notebooks. Every time I say where they're from, I'm wrong because in my heart
Germany.
it's Italy, but it's not. They're from Germany. The paper I think is like made in Sweden or something. They're from all over the place. But Nuna is a brand who basically, I've been talking about things that are peculiar brands. Nuna's got everything peculiar. There's actually no place other than being a book full of paper where I think Nuna are common or similar to other notebooks. Let me give you a rundown. First of all, Nuna were one of the first dot grid only notebooks on the scene. So they've been making dot grid for way longer, but get this. Everybody else is out here making dot grids in usually 5mm is standard for a dot grid. Every now and then you'll see a smaller one. And one of those now and then is Nuna, whose is, I think, 3.5.
That's right. You nailed it. 3.5mm dot.
3.5mm dot. So if a 5mm dot grid is feeling too loosey-goosey for you because you have either very tiny handwriting or you like to have a little bit more small size dots for drawing more complex figures in your notebook, Nuna's going to do it for you. So I love the fact that their dot pattern's different. It's also printed in a very light blue-gray that's really pleasing to the eye. The next thing they do is they number their pages, which, as I've said, is kind of uncommon. So numbered pages, smaller dot grid, plus a lot of times with notebook companies that are on the more affordable end, because these are higher end notebooks, they're just printing huge reams of paper, cutting them down, putting them in the notebook, and mostly the dots align on every page. So the margins are pretty consistent, but every now and then a dot's gonna go off the edge of the page and not be exactly if you flip through it like a flip book, you'll see some variation in where the dots fall. Nuna eliminates all of that variance. Every page has a really beautifully laid out margin of blank space on every side, including the gutter. So your dots always fall in the same consistent place, which is pretty, Leuchtturm also gets closer than Rhodia, but isn't always perfect. I think of the ones I've seen, Nuna is the most consistent with their margins. So if you're extremely particular about your notebook having perfect design, you might like a Nuna. Other fun features of a Nuna, usually when you see a stitch-bound notebook, which we've learned means they're going to lay flat and be the best. Nuna is amazing at that. They lay so flat. There's tons of signatures, but scope this. Do you see? Maybe I should do it with this notebook. You'll notice these covers are also beautiful. So when I crack the spine, can you see there's a gap where you can stick your finger in between the stitch bound edge and the spine? So they're bound with a separate spine that's not glued down, which lets the whole thing be a little more like sturdy over time. It provides a cleaner edge. It's not naked, although I don't mind a naked edge. But all in all, it means their signature can just be really flexible, which is a great design for a notebook that's pretty dang thick. Actually.
It's a hefty volume here.
It has a lot of pages compared. It's more than a Leuchtturm.
We're talking 256 pages here.
Big.
That's big.
That's as big as a Leuchtturm Master, which is the thicker version of the notebook, but it's a little bit smaller in size. So we've talked about there's so many special features of a Nuna. How can you not? In addition to all those great features, they feature these vegan leather covers that are really flexible and sturdy. They're also a little bit like waterproof somewhat, partly because of the screen printing and partly because of the material. So they feel really soft.
Doubles as a coaster.
It could double as a coaster.
Maybe.
I wouldn't, because it's a pretty expensive notebook.
Probably not.
But check it. Every Nuna notebook comes with a printed spine that matches the cover. So they're actually 360-degree complete pattern matched. This one is a glow in the dark cover and spine, not the spine, the cover. It's called Glowing Pixel, so they glow at night, which is beautiful. On your bedside table.
Notebooks are just showstoppers.
They're works of art.
Showstoppers.
Here's an amazing one. I think this one's called Milky Way. I need to double check that. It has sort of like a black and silver pattern. This is actually shiny silver all around, including the block. So these make great gifts because the presentation's beautiful. Again, if people are particular about their notebooks and you don't know if they'll love it, buy them a beautiful notebook you can't help but love, because that looks good sitting out on the coffee table. It makes a really beautiful like guest book for an event where everybody writes a message. There's a lot of things you can do with a notebook that just looks like a work of art. So congrats to Nuna. They have special editions that cycle in and out of our store. So if there's a design you love, and you want to use it your lifetime, maybe don't.
Buy 10.
Or buy 10.
We'll special order 10 for
Here's
you.
another Nuna. By the way, Nuna spelled N-U-U-N-A.
Yeah, N-U-U-N-A. Nuna.
Here's one that we're down to our last copy of that is just wild. Even the spine does it, y'all.
It's amazing.
If you're a magical unicorn kid, you might need this notebook so that when you show up in a coffee shop, you're not toting some big produce mead notebook.
No.
You have one that looks like it's made out of stardust.
Yes.
And maybe you pulled it out of the vortex of space at time into the cafe.
Continuing our unusual trends today, all 4 of these Nuna notebooks that we featured on the show are available at wonderfairhomeshopping.com for you to purchase right now. You can either order online or you can give us a call during the show. Lexi's here to answer the phones. So you can take an order. We can take an order for these Nuna notebooks. They're absolutely stunning.
They're so pretty.
$32, and I know that's 10
extra
bucks. That's
bucks.
like 10 extra bucks. But wow, $10 well spent. Gotta say.
I feel like it's a treasure.
I've been wanting this blue one for like a year since we got it in, and it's just like I feel like I need to have a reason to get into that one. I need to have a project or something that I wanna, and I already have all my project notebooks essentially. That's the wrong one for my Animal Crossing. I bought the engineering notebook.
They also are very dedicated to being an eco-friendly company, just as a side note.
Made in Germany, including the paper.
Really? Why do we have this?
I have no idea why you think Sweden. Most paper is made in Germany, I think.
Well, no.
I mean, for Germans got big paper industry.
We're
Let me
gonna
put it
fact
that way.
check that one later. But I gotta move on from Nuna because they're so great.
Do we have to move on?
Well,
I just wish we had more Nunas.
We do. I didn't bring them all over.
We do?
Yeah, I didn't bring them
Those
all
might
over.
not be online. I think those are the only 4 I put online.
Interesting. There's 2 other designs in our shop right now.
Wow.
So
Well, what else do you have to show?
Well, Nuna is so decorative. I think I want to show another decorative notebook. I actually probably should have followed up the Traveler's Notebook with this, because I don't know how this would be possible, but if you find that Midori's extensive line of refills for this aren't quite what you're looking for, some companies that we do sell make a notebook that fits it. This is like a A5 slim size, so it's the height of an A5 notebook, but slightly narrower. And one of those, which is a real dud in the shop, I must say, they're very expensive. for their size. So these are the Himakuri Note. And
How long have we had these? I never even seen them. Maybe that's why they're not selling.
they, what's problematic is they're such fascinating, beautiful notebooks, but you can't see them inside the plastic in our store in olden days when people came to our brick and mortar store. It's pretty high touch. People like to flip open the notebooks. And this notebook is made of Tomoe River paper, which we've discussed before. So it's great for, this is not, it's obviously for fountain pen users because it's Tomoe River paper.
And they got the fountain pen right on
the
the cover.
Even, speaking of decorative notebooks, scope this out. So what you see here is a silver letterpressed illustration of an ink bottle and a fountain pen nib. And that is through a die cut window. Ooh, it's kind of sticky. I don't want to mess it up. So we have very few of these left, but you'll see it opens out with a die cut, which is a very cute feature. It also means you can kind of like wrap your text, but I don't know why anyone would do that, frankly. It's just kind of a nice feature that it's a very decorative notebook. It provides an extra pocket for people to tuck things into, and then you've got a really nice light blue graph. It's also like a slightly greenish yellowish tone paper, which is also easy on the eyes. So this is the Himakuri Note. And this pattern is specifically sort of like a fountain pen theme. They make other patterns too. We have a cat one usually that is sold out right now and hopefully on its way. We'll see. And this is a more basic pattern of the Himakuri, which can go right inside your traveler's notebook, just a reminder. This one's really beautiful, but hard to see the detail of. It's gold printing with like kind of a vertical line pattern and then an open window where you can put your title or maybe a small drawing of your cat. That's what I would do. And it's got a beautiful seafoam green inside. So nice. So these are, again, like a more surprise notebook for the notebook lover who has everything. They probably don't have one of these because you don't see them very often in stores. They're $20, which is much more than a Midori refill, but the Tomoe River paper is the sort of costly item making them expensive. So those are fun.
Let's review. What's Tomoe River paper?
Tomoe River paper, should have researched more by now and still haven't, but what I've heard before is that the name refers to the region where it's generally produced. It's an extremely thin, like onion skin thin paper, but that's very dense and sturdy at the same time. And in particular, it's ideal for fountain pens because it lets the ink sit on top and shimmer and sheen and do all its magic without absorbing and feathering like some other papers